Engagement is relationship. So when you think about your social media, when you think about how you're going through and you're engaging with your audience, you're developing a relationship, you're developing the likability, the trust. You want to become the expert, but you want people on the other end to feel that they're seen, they're heard, and they're acknowledged. Seen, heard, and acknowledged. So first I have to tell you, at the age of like 4 or 5 years old, I created what I called my IFC, which was my imaginary film crew. And my imaginary film crew went with me everywhere I went. And I would literally take a pin and I would turn it into a microphone and I would be interviewing people. When my parents actually, when we built our house up in Tehachapi, I took all of the plywood and all of the 2x4s and I created my own sets. And instead of Sesame Street, I created what I called Caraway Street. And Caraway Street was where I had all of my own puppets and I would do my own stages and my own plays. I would make up my own TV shows. I would get all my cousins. They hated coming over to play with me because I would make them pretend like we were doing a TV show together. So in my mind, I've been imagining building sets. I've been imagining being in production and doing productions. And today I am in Austin, Texas, producing an event for Copy Accelerator. So they are some of the top copywriters in the world for some of the biggest businesses and leaders. And so I am on set right now, and I'm going to show you guys what I just produced and what we are in production because their event starts tomorrow. So that's the producer's office. And then take a look at this. So this is the actual studio where we are going to be holding our event for the next couple days. So we are right here. Here's one of our sets. This is our main set right here. And they wanted to make it look like they were, listen, virtual events are where the future is at right now and where we're going. And so they wanted to produce an event that still had the stage feel. They wanted it to feel like they're in staging. So as you can see, there's the set, there's the whole thing. I'm also hosting. And so this is my set right here where I'll be hosting in. And then there's the whole.
How exciting.
Right?
I wanted Matt to show you the behind the scenes.
There's some of the team that's coming in. So super, super exciting because this, you guys, this is what my vision is for my own place. Like I want to create a virtual center, a virtual production creative center where creatives can come and make their vision, whether it be an online course or going through and doing virtual events. They come in and we produce their event together. And so it's just super exciting that what was once a vision as a child, here it is now live and in full effect.
Right. So I just want to share with you, anything's possible when you have that dream and you believe, and more importantly, you have that team around you that can support you, right? Benjamin Franklin said, take the coins from your purse, invest them in your mind, and your mind will fill your purse overflowing. So Matt is my co-leader. Matt and I have been working together for about 8 years. Matt is a master engagement specialist, right? He helps us engage people, get people playing with you, right? If you think business is dead right now because we're in this pandemic, wrong. I'm gonna tell you, our business is growing. My colleagues' business is growing. So I just want you to know there's lots of things are possible when you have the right team around you. So Matt Gill and I have worked together for about 8 years, and we worked together in another organization. And what I love about Matt is his commitment to transform people's lives and his love and compassion for people. But more importantly, I want to do business with people that have integrity. I want to do business with people that have ethics. I want to do business with people that the tongue in their mouth and their tongue in their shoe are going in the same direction. Because have you met those people? They're one way to your face or to this face, and they're another way outside of this space. And what I love about Matt is he's consistent and he's congruent, and congruent in your message, congruent in your tools, takes this complicated thing and simplifies it to help us have more engagement. Mr. Matt Gill.
Hey, You guys, I am so excited. So listen, here's the thing about engagement. Engagement, number one, is key. So type that in the chat. Engagement is key. Engagement is key. Engagement is really, truly everything of what you're doing inside of social media and your messaging and what you're doing. Because when you engage, whether it be in video, whether it be text, whether it be just a photo, you're developing a relationship. Type that in the chat. Engagement is relationship. So when you think about your social media, when you think about how you're going through and you're engaging with your audience, you're developing a relationship. You're developing the likability, the trust. You want to become the expert, but you want people on the other end to feel that they're seen, they're heard, and they're acknowledged. Seen, heard, and acknowledged. Listen, we're in a space right now because of quarantine and being at stay-at-home orders where people are feeling so disconnected. They're disconnected from their friends. They're disconnected from their coworkers that they used to see inside their office. There's this exchange of energy, of laughs, of joy that they don't really get anymore because we're all at home. And they love their families, but some of their family are just getting on their nerves, right? Real talk. Like sometimes you're like, can you guys just go away for just a couple hours? Give me a little bit of a break. So when you're using social media, when you're engaging in your video, when you're engaging in your messaging, and when people take the time to respond to you, you want to respond back to them. You want them to feel seen. You want them to be heard. So I am I'm an internationally best-selling author of a book called Gotta Get It, Give It, which I am super excited about. Listen, I wrote that book just to see if I could do it. Just to see if it was possible. How many of you guys have ever had a conversation? You're like, can I really do this? Is it something? And so I wrote the book, I got it done. And as proud of it as I am, I'm like, man, I could have done so much more. And so I'm excited because at the end of this year, I'm going to be beginning the process of writing my next book. That'll have some of the tools and some of the things that you're hearing and more of the story. I've been honored and blessed to be able to speak all across the world as an international speaker. I am an engagement and impact strategist. So I get to come into companies like what I'm doing here in Austin, and how do we create the techniques and the ways of engaging more. Good morning, Colette. And art and live stream. So 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, I took over, as Susie was talking about, the live stream aspect. So I have always said that no matter if you're doing a live event, you need to have a virtual extension to your live event. Now, what's crazy is when I took over it almost became the Matt Gill show in my head. My IFC that I used to play, building Caraway Street and all of the sets. When I did live stream, it was just like I got to create my own talk show. And so I've been practicing for a long time, talking to an imaginary person on the other end. And so when you're talking to a camera and you're engaging, it's kind of the same thing. So if you feel comfortable, and I want to see your hands. If you feel uncomfortable talking to people or talking to a camera, raise your hand and say, this is me. Perfect. And so how do you I see your hands? Yes. All right. So how do you get comfortable? Practice, and practice. Talk to yourself, talk in the mirror, talk to nobody in there, and just get comfortable of having that connection. And that is truly, growing up, I always wanted to, I felt like I was alone. Growing up, I could be in a room full of people and I still felt alone. Growing up, I had to, I wanted to find ways of connecting to the adults that I was around. My brother and I were 7 years apart in age. And so I didn't have my brother to play with so I had my imaginary friends, and I still have my imaginary friends now. Some of them have left. It's a good thing though. So here's some marketing tricks that'll draw your ideal clients in like a moth to a flame. Janet Jackson did the song, like a moth to a flame, burned by the fire. But love is blind, but okay, I can't do the rest of the song, but yeah. So 75 million people in the US watch online videos every single day. They're using videos to consume content and to get information. They're using video to learn different things. They're using video to be entertained. Video is your number one tool, more so sometimes than just a text or a picture. Merely mentioning the word video in a subject line increases your open rate, has people say, ooh, I want to watch this, by 13%. Now that may not seem good, but when you're in a world where they're getting a whole bunch of emails from every single person, every single business, from your food to your coaching clients to your schools, to like when you get all these different emails, you want them to be able to say, I need to see this. I need to watch it. And nearly 50% of all videos is watched on a mobile device. And I think actually now in the times of COVID right now, that number is even gone up even more. So people are consuming video content off of phones, but definitely in the internet. By 2019, internet video traffic accounted for 80% of all consumer internet traffic in there. Videos up to 2 minutes long get the most engagement. So when you think about now here's a couple things. Now, one of when you think about Facebook and the different things, there are different algorithms. I got a message the other day from Facebook saying that if 3 minutes actually will reach more people, if my video is 1 minute and 30 some seconds, and it said post a video 3 minutes or longer to get to reach more people. So I did a beta test. I tested the 1 minute and 30, and I tested the 3 minute video. I did a little over 3 minutes, and they were just about the same. You know why? Because I engage. The engagement is the key. Even if you have somebody, and I'll give you guys during the actual summit, I'm going to give you guys some of the ways of increasing some of your engagements, and I'm going to give you some tools here too as well. YouTube has over 1 billion users. YouTube is a key place of dropping your content and having people come back. Mornings with Matt, it's crazy. I have people that'll write me and be like, oh my gosh, I love that show. I haven't produced that show or done anything in that show for over 1.5 years, but people are still consuming that content and they're looking for that content. Live streaming is going to be a $70.5 billion industry by 2021. And let me just tell you that about $4.7 million of that is going to be mine. I'm just claiming it right now. 4.7 million. I'm just saying, I got to get my little chunk out of that. In 2018, brands spent more than $90 billion in video content, and that number is going to be going up. So video, 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 video. Somebody in the chat type video. So here are 5 elements. This is the key. This is what I call the stop the scroll, in how you get people to stop when, and when they're looking through their Facebook, when they're looking through their Instagram, when they're looking through their account. The idea is you want them to stop their scroll. And so there are 5 different things that you can do to do that. So first, engagement. One of the ways is by asking questions. Ask lots of questions. So, hey, what did you think about this? Even if you're posting like crazy food pictures, you're posting a picture of your pizza, be like, oh, I love Little Caesar's pizza. What's your favorite pizza? You're asking the person, and the idea in engagement is to get somebody to go from being a viewer to be an active listener with you, to be an active participant in the conversation. So you're getting them from going like this and watching to now I'm going to engage. You want them to lean into your conversation. You want them to be more connected to you. And by asking questions, what's your opinion on? Have you ever ... You're prompting the engagement with your questions. Susie mentioned the word don't post and goes. Listen, I see so many people that'll post a picture or post a video and then they leave. And then people begin to respond, oh, this is good stuff. But they never go back and say, you're right. What value did you get out of it? What was the one thing that you learned the most? People want to know, people want to see that you're paying attention to them, that they're engaging in you. Listen, one of the biggest tricks, if you have people that will like a post but never leave a comment, I call my people out. I put them on blast. So somebody in the chat put, call them out. Call them out. How do you do that? I'll be like, hey, Barbara, I saw you like the post. What value did you get out of it? Or what did you like the most? When you call them out, then they feel like, oh, you saw me. Now, you don't have to do that to all of them, but select some people. Prompt the engagement. Your job is not just to post something and then disappear. It's to get them engaged. Here's the thing. If you are stepping into this for your first time, you're training your audience. You're training them. How do they respond to you? How do they engage with you? If you haven't been engaging with them already, you need to reprogram them, retrain them. And so the more that they say, oh, Susie's now responding to me. Now they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to respond to her. And you're building that likability. You're building that trust. You're building that connection with them. One of the most important things that you can do is show your humanity. You hear me talk about it in any of my posts. When you hear me talk about tell your story. Your story is the most impactful asset that you have. Your story is what makes you different from anybody else. There could be 5,000 different business coaches, but there will never be 5,000 business coaches with your story. There is only one business coach that I know that has 9 brothers and sisters and came from a poor family and is now making and has built multiple $million-dollar businesses. I only know one coach like that because that's her story, and she is the profit coach. That's her story. We wouldn't know that, though, if she didn't tell her story. As a matter of fact, there have been so many times that I'm like, Suze, you need to tell your story more. I put her on blast. I'm like, listen.
He does. Every time if I do say something, he's like, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I'm like, okay. He's like my coach of engagement. It's awesome.
Exactly. Because that's how we build. That's how we develop the trust. That's how I'm like, ooh, okay, she done did some stuff and I can relate to that. And she's my coach. That's how people select. That's how people know me, because of my story. People know the story of, whoa, there we go. People know the story of climbing up the wall and jumping over to get to my goal. People know the story of, the recent story of me deciding it's time for me to graduate and to take a leap and to launch my own business. People know those stories. People remember those stories. There are stories that I've told that I forgot that I told, and then like, oh, how's your aunt? And da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, how do you know? Because I forgot I told the story, but it reminded, my story of my aunt reminded them of their aunt, and we made a connection. So showing your humanity, telling your story, showing the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, here's the thing. You can tell you're ugly and still maintain your level of expertise. So many people say, I don't want to tell my story because then they're not going to look at me as the coach. They're not going to look at me as the crap. That's bull crap. They're going to love you even more because you're sharing, one, because you're trusting them with your story, because they're seeing the resilience in your story. They're seeing your bounce back in your story. And they're like, if she can go through all of that, if Paul can survive 270 watts of electricity and still be able to be here on a call and learning, damn it, I can do it too. Like, they need to hear your story so you can go through and show your humanity, but maintain your level of expertise. So
well,
you want to find
afraid, and this is what Matt helps me with, Danielle, is that you're afraid to tell what a badass you are. Right? And everything you accomplish, because you don't want to be braggadocious. Well, she's like a 7-time gold medalist, Olympic. I don't know, so many I can't count. And every time I look at her, I get nervous with her. Like, oh my gosh, she's such a big deal. Right? But we're shy. And we're like, well, that's who I was. But who you were is who you are. Right? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just to be in that space, you got to come packing something different. And so I know I have a hard time because I don't want to feel like I'm bragging. I don't want to feel like woe's me, like drama share. And I think there's a difference, right, Matt? There's a difference between drama share and speaking to make a difference, speaking to make an impact. Huge difference. Yes, Paul, right?
Exactly.
I love Paul.
And listen, truth be told, there are 2 Olympians that are actually on this call right now. As I look through, there are 2 Olympians that are on here that I know both don't tell their story.
They're just shy. Like, how many of you would love to hear that story? Like, I'm sorry, what did you eat? I'm sorry, what time did you have to get up? I'm sorry, what? Like, I know what I have to do, and I was never an Olympian, right, Danielle? I'm just calling you out. Like, we got you. We got you. She's writing a new book. She's writing a new book, and we want her to tell her story like pow. You got to go pow. Because we got seconds to make an impact.
It took me 10 years to have the courage to come up and tell the story to the people. I'm sorry. It was, well, I'm here. Thank you.
Yes, I love it, Paul. I love it, right? Like, listen, there are some things that you have gone through. You worked hard for that. You earned the right to tell that story. So damn it, tell your story. Bottom line, boom. Find leaders that are in your same field that you can look up to and hook your caboose to them. What are they doing? How are they doing it? What are the things that align with you that you're like, Now listen, remember, version 1 is better than version none. Version 1 is better than version none. You can just do it and get it done. I did my very first webinar, my very first masterclass. I was like, I wanted to do so much more. And I was like, you know what? I had to listen to my own words and say, let me just do it. Let me do version 1, get it done. Now I know what I want to add for the next one, but at least it's done. Done is better than none, is another way of saying it. Like, you just want to get it done. The idea is to turn your wanters to play with you more, to get more involved with you. So here are the 5 steps. I'm going to run through these real quick. Here are the 5 things to stop the scroll. 1, you need a powerful hook. Your hook is designed to disrupt, to grab their attention. It could be like, well, ain't that some beep, something, or like, what I love about this is, and then leave it blank. That's a hook. It's real short, real sweet, one little quick little sentence. The idea is to make your audience go, huh? Or and like, sometimes if you're doing video, you can turn it upside down and then catch it. I'll do my videos from random different places so that people that are nosy, that want to look at the background, especially with Zoom now, we're all looking into people's houses. We're like, is their bed made? Like, what do they got on the stove? Like, we're nosy, we want to see. So be disruptive, do something that catches them. The second one is your teaser. Your teaser is your hook, is a little extension of your hook. So you're just gonna elaborate a little bit more. So if I was gonna be like, I can't believe it, could be the hook. Then the teaser would be, I can't believe that as I'm sitting here, I'm actually watching my dreams come true. Teaser. All I'm doing is I'm extending it out a little bit. Then you go into your content. Your content is the meat of your message. Growing up as a child, I would imagine playing on sets. I would build sets. Now here I am going through and I'm living my dream, building sets for other people and making their realities come true. That's content. Your 4th step is your call to action. Now you may have a direct call to action. You may have, or you may just say, you know what? I want to hear from you. I want to know, what are some of your dreams that you've watched come true? That's a call to action. You're prompting the engagement. If you're selling something, you're selling a service or a product, this is where you would say, you know what? I'd like to offer you an opportunity to get on the call with me and let's talk about ... Or I'd like to offer this product or service to you. Here's this. So this call to action is where you're making an offer, or you're prompting the engagement if you're not selling something. So you'll see that there's a bit.ly there. You would want to put in whatever your link is. And then you want to go through and you want to close. You want to close with your heart. You want to leave them in your heart. You want to leave them with a charge or a quote or something that lands in there. Listen, you know what? You could be doing anything today. The one thing you'll never get back is your time. And so I want to thank you for taking the time to invest this moment into learning, into spending from time with me and from Susie and from this community. I want to thank you for saying yes to you when you could have said yes to so many other things. Notice how all of a sudden I've taken you from your head to your heart and landed you here. So you want to leave them and close them with your heart. Now here's a gift for you. You guys see the Stop the Scroll checklist, that bit.ly. If you go to www.stopthescrollchecklist, I have that for you guys there. So you guys can get that as well. So I know I just like gave you guys a lot of information really quick, but we're going to deep dive into some of this later on. But let me just tell you, engagement, engagement, engagement. Get involved, get in conversations, and be bold. Be bold.
Bold. And when you feel like you're bragging, send it to someone that knows you and they'll edit it, right? I'll send something to Matt and I'm like, okay, this just feels so narcissistic. And he's like, no, I need you to say it even more powerful, right? Because I just don't want to be that, because we've all been slimed, yes? Yes? Right? Where you're just like, ew, who cares about you? It's all about me. So you got to have someone that's willing to say, no, we want to hear it. We want to hear who you are, what you're up to, how do you do it? And Megan reminds me that all the time. Matt reminds me of that all the time to go, no, they really want to hear it. I'm like, you think? They're like, no, we know. Right? It's great to have people around you, just your tribe. I'm not even saying you're paying people. It's just this community and tribe to go, we love you. We love you. We're committed to you. I know that sounds weird if you don't come from that space. It feels very foreign, right? I understand, that's not the norm in business. There's always an in order to. In order to do this, you got to do this. In order to do this, you got to do this. You do have to take action. You do have to get yourself uncomfortable. So Matt's going to give us a couple little uncomfortable things to do tonight in the Power Your Profit Facebook group. So what do you want us to do in the Facebook group tonight?
So I want you guys to practice. I'm going to stretch you. I'm going to stretch you. I want you guys to practice telling your story inside the group. So give me a 2 to 3 minute video, 2 to 3 minute video. And it can start with, what you may not know about me is. What you may not know about me is.
And so Sam is going to tell her story. Megan's going to tell her story. I'll go in and tell a different story that you don't know about me. I'll find one that I haven't done yet. I'm sure there's many.
Now, here's the key. When you go into the group and you see, because we're putting ourselves out there and we're sharing something that for some of us, it's going to be the first time that we've even tried telling the story. I want you guys to engage with other people's posts. So make sure when you do your video, spend some time, give yourselves 20, 30 minutes to watch other people's videos and remark on there. Just like you would want somebody to engage with your post, you want to go in and post somebody else and one, acknowledge them. What I love about your video is, or what I learned through your video is, you want to acknowledge them. So Amanda says, is the video public? It's going to be inside of the group, inside of the group as well. So your general public will not. For the advanced students, if you want to post it publicly on your own page and share your story, boom, advance, share it with the world.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay, y'all, this is Make It Rain. Tomorrow, same time, same station. We have a phenomenal speaker that's going to take this content and ramp it up to the next level about how do you leverage that engagement on social media and really find the content that your tribe is interested in. So I look forward to seeing you there.